A common email or comment that I get is, how do I stop algae in my bog filter? Or how do you stop mosquitoes laying their eggs in the filter? You can easily stop both from happening if you have no surface water inside the bog. But sometimes you might want to have water over the surface of the bog for aesthetics or for function. So in this video, I'll talk about different reasons why you might want to have water over the surface of the bog and reasons why you might not. As we go along, I'll show some of my different bogs and why they're constructed, how they are, and what my personal experience with them's been. If you don't already know me, my name is Kev, and the aim of my channel is to help people build and maintain ponds without spending a fortune. If that sounds like something that interests you, you might like to subscribe and check out my website, Ozponds.com. So let's start here with a small bog filter that sits above a container pond. This pond sits on the north side of the house, which in the southern hemisphere is the sunniest side of the house. Often in sunny, shallow water, algae can be an issue. So on this filter, I chose to have the bog media, which in this case is clay aquaponic balls, or LICA, stacked up higher than the water level inside the filter. The filter has a gravel guard to stop the media from blocking up the standpipe that sets the water level inside the filter. The water moves through the clay media and then the filtered water spills back into the pond. Then it's pumped back up to the filter and round it goes. Inside the media, I've planted bacopa to help remove nutrients from the water. If the water level was higher than the media, it's quite probable that it would grow algae to help consume nutrients. But the algae needs water and light, and there's no light hitting the water, hence there's no algae. Sometimes though, it's beneficial to have the algae growing inside the bog filter. The good thing about algae is that it can grow really quick and can process nutrients quicker than more complex plants like the bacopa. There's also heaps of different types of algae, and they can remove nutrients throughout the year. Where I live, the winters are chilly, and the bacopa isn't very active. Therefore, it doesn't consume as much nutrient in winter as it does in summer. It can often be hard to find good bog plants that will remove nutrients in the winter, but the algae will. If the algae grows and you remove it from the water, you remove the nutrients that it used to grow. In this pond, sometimes I'll notice that I get algae growth inside the pond, especially when the bacopa isn't actively growing. If I had the shallow water in the bog, that's where I would get the algae growth, due to more light. But this pond sits near my front door, and the filter is one of the first things that I see. So I choose to have it full of bacopa rather than algae, because, well, the bacopa's nicer to look at. Here's a different bog filter. This one's built inside a stream. It's basically just a big hole filled with different sizes of rock and pebble. There's a pump inside the pond, and it pumps water into the base of the filter. There's a pipe that disperses the water throughout the bog, and then it rises up slowly through all the media and continues its journey down the stream and back into the pond, and round it goes. Now, because this is a stream, I obviously want to have water visible above the rock and the pebble. The stream has plants as well as the pond, and there are plants planted directly into the pebble of the bog filter. The idea being that they will help consume nutrients and prevent algae. Still, occasionally algae will grow because it's quick to react to new nutrients, or the plant's not removing as many as they were due to different growth cycles. When this happens, my best option is, again, to remove as much as I can to remove those nutrients. Algae is an excellent filter, and it's important that it's there. It's kind of like a fail-safe. When the bacteria, organisms and plants aren't doing enough, the algae will pick up the slack. I believe it tends to grow more happily in the filter, as this is where the highest concentration of nutrients is. Once the bacteria, organisms and plants catch up at processing the nutrients, the algae disappears. If the algae is persistent, you might need to look at why. Where are the extra nutrients coming from? Are there more fish? Are you feeding too much? Is something falling in the pond and breaking down? There's lots of things that can create excess nutrients in the water, and those are just some of the common causes. So persistent algae can let us know of an issue that needs to be addressed, and often it can be better to have this annoying algae growing in the filter rather than the pond. So if you have lots of fish, or you're concerned about the amount of filtration, you might find a benefit to having shallow water above the media inside the bog filter to be beneficial. In this pond and stream system, I'd prefer not to have it, so I make sure to keep the fish numbers low and have a diverse range of plants. The pond is still young, so time will tell how that plays out for me. Because the filter is inside the stream and there's plenty of water movement, no mosquitoes will lay their eggs here. And here's another bog filter with water over the pebble and rock. In the last pond, the filter was built inside a stream, whereas this filter is more like the headwaters of the stream. Again, it's just a big hole filled with rock and pebble, the dispersal pipe distributing the water, and it's flowing up through the various sizes of rock and pebble. I should mention I do have videos of how all these filters were built, so I'll put a link to those in the description if you want to see more details. Anyway, because this filter only has the water coming into the bog from the base, there isn't a lot of water movement inside the filter. The previous filter had the additional flow from the stream. Also, as the standing water was much narrower, this created a significant amount of water movement. This filter is larger and wider, and it's quite possible for mosquitoes to be interested in laying their eggs here. But this filter is deep enough and big enough to have fish. Therefore, the fish eat any mosquito larvae that's present. The thing I like about this filter is that it's like a pond that feeds into the larger pond. This particular pond has 2 of these filters. These filters have lots of plants, and often this is where I find the most baby fish. This is their sanctuary. Same thing as the other filter. With algae, sometimes it pops up, but most of the time it's very temporary. One more thing before I sign off. I hope this is helpful. If you have a bog and you want the ability to grow algae on the surface of the bog because you understand that it can be a benefit, but you're worried about having mosquitoes, you could oversize the pump a bit and have the excess water shoot out of the breather pipe. This will agitate any standing water and make it unappealing for mosquitoes. That's what's going on in this pond's bog filter. If you don't know what a breather pipe is for a bog and why it's beneficial, I'll add another video in the description that talks about that. Anyway, a bog filter is a fantastic DIY filter for any size pond. It's important that they're sized correctly. If you're interested, I do have a downloadable PDF on my website that has the formulas I use when I build my ponds, so I'll also add a link to that in the description. As you can see, there's lots of different ways to construct a bog filter, and there's different reasons why you may choose to have water over the media or not. I hope this video was helpful. If you thought so, feel free to tickle the thumbs up button. It really likes it. Thanks for watching. See ya.